Again, should nothing happen? They did exactly the same thing again? Notoriously, those more weird things only after freed up the space, huh? It's like you're trying to get me to do yesterday. Mm-hmm. Roger. Now, with this type of crimes they're doing here, the shit drugs, it gains new meaning even to what they're doing to the phone, right? That's the impunity that they expect for the crimes. Those are the crimes that they expect to do with impunity. Well, no, it's not. It's much worse. But those ones are just the probatory ones, right? Again, holding the phone the same way that I was doing this entire time up to now. Up to now, no issues. You can see what I'm doing around. So, be advised on that. The screen is covered and protected as well. Each one of those times with me moving the way you see me move, so I don't tap on anything on that. While playing the thing on the background, which also serves as a steady marker for how things are going. As of now, kind of surprised and I flipped around that it's okay. Even though not touching the screen, receiving the message is saying swipe to unlock, which is what happens when you touch and the screen is locked. Oh yeah, by the way, don't forget, the screen is locked. Just like all the others, just like the other phone. You just swipe to unlock. No, babe, you can't stay there. You can go inside. Once again, baby afraid of going inside. So be advised on that. Oh yeah, baby. No, you're not doing that to the food. Instead, you can put that quickly enough when you're going. What we're doing right now is to close up to move the water in to make sure that we have the water here. Well, by the way, what's the name? What's the name again? So yesterday I had the piss, and now I have the shit. Again, there ain't no scenario you can conceive where this wouldn't be brought up before the end of that. That the one time when you see them actively and very shamelessly trying to create their own environment where their crimes cannot be reported, as if nobody else can see what the goal when there is, and the only ones who beneficiate from it. After all, again, if you're doing nothing wrong, you want that to be seen. I wish that all I need to do to, when I was beginning of this crime, and I thought that they would generally believe that I was, this evil person who was doing evil things, that they would just could do nothing and everything be fine. And then I realized that the observer is not unbiased, nor is it actually honest. So whenever something doesn't add up, they would have made things up. Or make things up probably became too unrealistic. They just start drugging to create those things to manufacture to happen. In the same fashion of the circus you see happening all the time. Also, I want to point out, only when the food got out of it, only when I tried to push it out, is when the baby went again there to try to dig the food. Because up to this point, the food was simply pushing the thing on top, as I have done yesterday, cause it not to. But as you saw over there, someone pulled it out and then moved the thing away, which likely led the bag in the food to grab onto the leftover paper tape, which led to what you saw there. The cat wouldn't have done that. Can guarantee one thing: the cat will not move the box, and the cat will sure as hell not have the inside to put the paper tape in place. And instead, this is the situation we have. Okay. Meanwhile, Chip still didn't get her medicine. Meanwhile, her medicine got out of the backpack. I can testify to you that at any point yesterday, I removed Chip's medicine from the backpack. Didn't even want to show to you where I purchased it. Not for reasons that protect me, but because, as I said, it was kind of normal when I was there. I always suspect I kind of manufacture normal because I always suspect that to begin with. It will mean loads to you if that's the case, because even when I mentioned that it was not, if you investigate and you find out it actually was manufactured, Boy, wouldn't that be poetic? That even after all of this, you'd still have me being trying to be so fair to the criminals themselves that I'll take the things that they would do that would be most certainly criminal into a possibility of not. Yeah, I hear the noise. Either way, so there's that. By the way, the criminals can still do everything that they did before. Much like the flashlight on the other phone, you should assume this as a test. Okay? Um, the testing to see what I'm gonna say, which is what I'm saying. Let's say, for instance, that I had said indeed the flashlight has something plausible instead of ridiculous to deal with this crime. They would have just started using that. Yeah, for instance, but that's just an example. I don't actually know what the intent with that was. I know that doesn't make any sense. I know that that was not a real thing. That much you don't need a big brain to know. Oh, but they're not releasing shit drugs here. So we're gonna see another release of shit drugs at the same time you saw the true drug bikes passing here. With the criminal there, which might be a filler because it's actually coming from the other side instead. So, pay attention. Yeah, I mean, I could just leave the phone doing itself, but since I don't trust for 1 second that it's just not gonna get tampered with if I do that, I have to keep a tight leash. And as you saw, if I hear noise, I shut up. Again, those are the cats that I go to the lanes. It's raining, by the way. I don't know if you can see it falling. Because it is. To make sure that the evidence is available to you. But I'm actually going to go back inside. I just want to make sure that I have the water there for sure. We have the little can of thing there. And we have the... Also, I don't want to leave this here. They said before I stand by. Everything about this shit that we're not gonna ever touch is evidence in its own right. This thing was placed later. This thing is from the bag. It fell because there's a hole in it. It's a gigantic hole in it. I put it back on the same bag. That's a bag that's actually coming here instead of the other one. You know how we can actually start opening that now? Because it's the bag that is ragged open and it has a bunch of things inside, which makes it very difficult to use the door because the things keep getting shoved down. The baby. What happened? What happened in your mouth? My food probably, I guess. Honestly, baby, I don't mind you. I really don't. That's of all the things, this is the least one that I'm caring about. I prefer you didn't, but I can guarantee to you, based on just the way the piece of shit is, because I mentioned that as a thing, because it's my food, and that's something that they targeted specifically. You saw that several other times for reasons that are only clear for piece of shit. Like I said before, akin to, for instance, you saw them prioritizing things that would be suffering for me rather than evidence preservation. So essentially, they will prioritize having evidence being exposed rather than preserve that just to cause me pain. That's what they are. That's what they do. The fact that they'll target on the food that I mentioned, I intended to eat today. Chef's kiss. Now, again, to me, on the other hand, as a normal human being who caring for those cats, I couldn't bother in the least that they're the ones eating them. I'm actually quite happy that they are. But I'm just placing that to you as a way for you to see. Just as we see for this, where we are and what business shit is, Oh, talk about person. He talk about the person shit. He comes. Yeah, I say some person shit passing pretty close to you. No, I don't know about that position in particular. I wouldn't. First off, I wouldn't be able to see from that distance, which is not funny at all. And I wouldn't know what position that is, but I'm coming out of the rain. But since I suppose like you might as well understand that. Yeah, I should. So nothing, huh? Yeah, you know happen at this point. Position is too brave to actually show up until they are fully sure. So they would usually wait something like half an hour, something like that, until they would try to make a move. In this case, since the whole thing is relatively small in time, right? Generally expect it to be more. I would say at least 10, 15 minutes about now. But keep in mind, most of the recordings are already recording before, so that's to say. Okay, baby. Just curious about the way that your tail was hanging out there. Alright. Last thing is goes with our bag. We don't know what the bag is for this. We'll just put it in. I think I'm carrying me too much about this. Yeah. We need to both. I couldn't care less about they're gonna say, quite to the contrary. I want them to say that crap. My probably should expecting YouTube to be the only place that's gonna be released there. So, we're gonna take this bag, put it there. For some reason, decide to put it back here and put it back here. The thing stays in place. Far too indulged into this crime as is. They don't like it, they can self-incriminate over I care very little. Quite to the contrary, that would be very convenient. Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's not how it ends. That is just how we bypass the crime. I want the people who are gonna be doing this the hard way. Setting up a system in which you can guarantee the backup authenticity. Again, something else that business didn't have to deal with before, and they're gonna have to deal with now. On account of the geniuses and the genius of the plans. The issue for not before, well, because very difficult to keep track of things. But it was very difficult to move away the thing. It was very difficult to care for the cats. It was very difficult to do what I did yesterday. Difficult is just life now. Difficult before, not gonna quit now. And not just like for me. For me and for everybody else who ever did anything that matters, ever. So, actually, you know the answer better than me. And besides, it was me in real life, which clearly they didn't. Yeah, I knew that they would interrupt. That's the contrary. They would love to do that. There's nothing to interrupt there. Now, of course, they're not gonna say that they're interrupting those. That's the funny part. But since we know they are, we knew that they wouldn't. And then, anyways, just sealing the place. response to it has been a series of notifications of the Google Play services thing that they do. That's the version of the letting you know that they are there type of deal. Screenshotted. That reminds me. Shame we didn't do that during the night. I'm gonna do that tonight. Just showcase the difference between the screenshot of the camera with the actual camera filming and the brightness in the background. They are flying. Shit you not, in a day like today, they are flying heat drug in the air right now. Also notice the bathing, another known thing for their crimes. Also, actually, I want some more. So much to see, but if you could just provide the light. That's how to create an entire new system and how to organize and authenticate evidence.